All right, and welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. Today we're going to talk about conditional access policies. My name is Caleb Baker. I work on the Azure Active Directory team, kind of working on core conditional access. I'm going to be joined by Alex on the Cloud App Security team, and then also Joey from Intune. So we can really tell like a nice complete story about how conditional access is working and partnering within the company, because it's really a story that we've built up together over time. So I'm excited to have everyone here, and let's get started on this. So really the big goals that I want from this session is kind of do an overview of some of the big security challenges that we see people addressing with conditional access policies, break it into a few different categories, which I think is kind of a useful way to look at it, see how what we're doing and the value add that we have in bringing some of the Microsoft 365 offerings together can help address that. And then hopefully give a bit of a plan in terms of, depending on where you are in your path in using conditional access policy that you can have as steps forward. Now, the three categories that I want to talk about, and we're kind of really going to explore and dig into, is the first one is securing, making sure, you're protected against compromised credentials. Because that's the entry gate. If, bad actors can access your systems, then it's game over. After that, really looking at compromised devices and how you can use conditional access policy and work with Intune to help make sure that your devices are secure and hardened. And then, as the third category, is protecting against the general use case of lost devices, stolen devices, making sure that any of that data on the device, if you have the data on the device, is secure, and having a real nice posture there. And, of course, the secret to all of it, too, is that when you're doing these things, you want to make sure that your users are happy. And we see that as a real critical thing, and I'll call that out kind of along the way where we're addressing that. You've probably heard this in other sessions. It's something that's getting pretty deep in our DNA at this point, which we know that if the users aren't happy, they're going to find another way. They're going to share files in a different way. They're going to use USB. They're going to use another service to put their files on. So you have to have this user experience. You have to nail it in order to really have security. Real quick, as a level set, how many people here have used conditional access policy to some extent? Okay, that's a lot. And then how many of you have at least have a general idea of what conditional access policy is, even if you haven't used it? Okay, so this is going to be a huge percentage of it. So I'll go through this pretty quickly. At its core, a conditional access policy is a policy engine with lots of extensibility and richness, and that's how we do a lot of these integrations with Intune, MCAS, with Office, Windows ATP, where the basic flow of the policy is to look at the session, look at the conditions that the user is operating under, and then feeding that in to the central policy engine. Now, the conditions that we look at span across who is the user. Is it a guest? Is it what's their role? What groups are they part of? What device are they on? What's the state of that device? Location information. And it really gives a rich set of options in terms of how the policy could be applied. And then that feeds into the engine, which is also having tons of data dumped into it from all of the data mining that we do, the attacks that we see happening across the enterprise and consumer space. And that feeds in risk scoring as another condition that can be used within that policy processing. As an output and a result of that, you can have different enforcements put into place. Most basic ones are block and allow access, require strong authentication with multi-factor auth, require that the user's on a compliant device. We'll get into it more, but having limited access policies within Office. And then we also have terms of use that you can do. So in common case there is for a guest, if they're coming in and you want to have them sign some agreement before they access your services. And then, of course, this connects up to applications across Azure AD. And this spans from Office 365 to integrated third-party applications, and we'll talk a bit more about that. And then back to on-prem. And the on-prem play there really is the integration with Azure App Proxy. Most common case I see there is people have SharePoint deployed on-premise. They're still using on-prem, but they want to start taking advantage of these security features in the cloud. So they expose it out through Azure App Proxy. And then as the sign-in flow is going through Azure AD, all of these policies can apply, and you get the same benefits. Now, we have preparing, getting ready for these decks and everything. We had a bunch of numbers flying around. One that jumped out to me is that we have 900 million protected sign-ins with conditional access policy right now. It's really being widely adopted. Now, of course, the question with this number is, in what time frame is that? Is that an hour, a day, a week? So everyone who votes that it's an hour that you would see that. A day? In some days. A week? A month? A year? A lot of people abstaining from voting. So it makes it a little harder to say, but it's actually in a day. Now, granted, this counts all of the token issuance that we do. So when sometimes an application gets like multiple tokens in order to access the services. But it's a phenomenal number if you think about it in terms of just the magnitude of that, the efficiency in the system, and then also just the data that we get back in terms of how this is impacting people and user experience and the real security that it's providing. Now to kind of start through, that's sort of the main intro. Now we're going to walk through these different sections and really explore the different areas that I brought up before. I'm going to start out with the compromised credentials, which is also another hot topic. A few more numbers here. One of them is, so we see that within a month, typical month, we see about 6,000 Azure Active Directory admins get their account compromised. These are admins that don't have strong auth enabled. There's a shockingly low number of administrator accounts that have their MFA enabled. I'm sure you hear it in other sessions, but also in this session. Like if there's one thing that you're going to do, go and apply multi-factor auth to your admin accounts. Because once those are lost, then it's game over across the board. And then if that's not enough to motivate you, the other interesting number is that we see that when people have multi-factor auth enabled, that there's a 99.9% reduction in the amount of compromises that those accounts have, which is super significant. Now, I wasn't able to fact check this, and someone was telling me that this is basically your odds of survival, or it's equivalent if you have a parachute when you jump out of a plane. So you have like a 0.001 that if you don't have a parachute, then maybe you're going to luck out. You'll land like in the water or on a haystack. I don't know, right? But you can think of having multi-factor auth as providing that same protection of having a parachute. It's going to save you. Like it's just a matter of time. So really, I want to make sure that that's something that's all on the top of your minds there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some demos in terms of how you enable that, how you would secure strong authentication within your environment. Now, the first thing that I'm going to show here, okay, here's a pro tip first. This is new, that in the all services, you can add conditional access as a favorite. So I have my nice little shortcut. I'll jump right in here and start looking at conditional access policies. The first one I want to talk about is this top one here. This appears in everyone's tenant. It doesn't matter if you have Azure AD Premium or not. This is going to show up. And this is how this really like backs how important we think having multi-factor auth on your administrator account is. What this does is a baseline policy for applying multi-factor auth to your administrators. It lists the roles there that it'll apply to. And it gives some pretty simple options around like, you can fully opt out of it, which I don't recommend. You can go and you can opt in, or you can wait until it's going to be something that we just kind of roll out as we GA this feature. And you'll kind of get that protection by default. You also have the option that you could exclude a couple of accounts if you wanted to. But for the most part, so everyone here who's working with Azure Active Directory has this available and should go take a look at this. Now, in the cases that you have a user and you want to start applying policies there, I'll show real quick creating a new policy. So this would be the experience, and a lot of you, it sounds like you're familiar with this, where I'll create my MFA user policy. And the steps to creating a policy are usually always the same, that you go through and you set some conditions around who this policy applies to. In this case, I would want to have a policy that goes to all users. I'd want it to protect all applications. You'll see this warning that pops up here. The reason for that warning is when you're setting an all-user, all-app policy, you want to make sure you know what you're doing. What you don't want to do is first set a policy that says require a compliant device for all users and all applications, and then as step 2, go and figure out how to bring your devices into compliance. Which is something that we see people making that mistake on occasion. We're adding more alerting, looking at other ways to try and like mitigate that. But just so you know, don't do that. If you're experimenting with a policy and an all-user policy, I would recommend starting with some user excludes, because that's easy to do too. You can say all users, and then exclude your account or a couple of administrator accounts who would have access to the policy. And then as the last option, you can go in, you can set, just require multi-factor authentication for this flow. Save that. Optionally, you can go back and you configure some conditions. So if you wanted to say, like, okay, I want multi-factor auth, but I'm not ready to go like fully in yet, so just when they're outside the corporate network, or if they're not on a compliant device. And that's where you configure some additional state. Now, this is a demo tenant that I share with lots of other people. So, and I'm not going to save this one. I have a policy that's saved that I'm going to use. Usually getting policy applied, like, it's usually okay in a live demo. I see it getting applied in about 15 seconds, but the overall SLA is 5 minutes, so I'm not going to risk it. So I have this other policy set, so I'm going to just cancel out at this point. But with all of these policies in the tenant, it's easy to ask the question of, okay, so which policies actually apply to this user or to a particular user? And in this tenant, I think there's probably like 60 different policies that have been set up. Policies is not a precedence order. All the requirements get set together, so they kind of are combined. So if you had a policy that blocks a user, MFAs the user, net result's going to be MFA. One policy MFAs the user, the other one is require a compliant device. Both are going to apply to that user. And the reason that we did that is that as you add a new policy, you don't have to worry about that you're accidentally breaking some other security policy someone else set. But it leaves you with this problem of which policy is actually going to apply. And that's where we did this work on the what if tool, where you can go in and you can say, okay, so I want to know for Bob what's going to be the effective policy. And I can set this first condition. I could go through and I could set other conditions I care about too, like Bob going to a specific app. But I'll just do the user. And in this case, I can see like, okay, it is just this MFA for all users policy and a SharePoint limited access policy that we'll talk about later. Those are the two that apply. And I can see all the ones that don't apply. And it'll give a reason why it didn't apply. Like it wasn't in scope of the user, the policy was disabled, that if you had configured like the location, that they weren't within the location that the policy would set. So this is really useful if you want to go and understand the exact impact. Okay, so that policy that I set was a pretty good policy, but it had one big flaw in it. And the problem there is the policy that I have, what we have by default, is it applies to modern authentication and browser by default. It doesn't apply to some legacy protocols. And you might ask, well, why don't you just apply it to everything by default? And that's because we're in a preview for being able to apply policy to legacy protocols. And so it's not something that we can just like opt people into right away. We're going to get there, but it's something that's super important to know about. So these would be the cases of someone using like a Office 2010 client that doesn't use the modern auth protocols, or someone having like a, their favorite mobile phone application that's using SMTP or IMAP. So what you want to do to be fully secure and have the policy applied across all of the entry points is to come in here and make sure that the other clients is selected. And then you can apply that. And as you do that, the scary thing about it is figuring out what that impact is going to be within your tenant. And this is where we've done some work with the reporting team to add additional information about what's happening in conditional access policies within the Azure AD sign-in reports. Now, if you haven't looked at this report before, there's a row for each sign-in that happens within Azure Active Directory, and you can get a lot of useful information. When you go in, you click on a specific row, it brings up, it'll tell you like which conditional access policy is applied, what the requirement was that policy enforced. For figuring out the legacy applications, we have this client app filter that you can go into. So I could go and say, okay, for other clients, are there users signing in, and filter down to that. And then I can see who that is, what the traffic is, and make a real conscious rollout in terms of securing the environment, but also having the proper reach out to all of the users that might be impacted. One tip in here, super common question, because people come and they want to do this, and then they don't see these filter fields up on top. You want to be aware of this columns selector here. And when you select the different columns that are going to show up on the table, that's what makes them appear in the filter. So if you go and you try and do this, and you want to look at like correlation ID or client apps or if conditional access policy was applied, come open this up first, and then you'll be able to have that option. All right, so kind of the next thing, building on this, which I'm super excited to be talking about, because I've been working with the program manager who owns this part of the reporting. And there's a feature that's coming out soon. I can't give the exact timeline, but roughly like within this calendar year, where you have log analytics integration back to that report. So all that data that I was just showing you, which is nice, you can go and filter and see specific users, but it's hard to really drill into it and see, like the overall landscape of how it's impacting users. So you can use log analytics to pull it in and build up your reports with pretty simple queries. So now if I click into this, I can see some of these pre-built reports that have been created. And, it's like super cool. So I can come in and I can see like for legacy authentication in that field, like out of my 47,000 that were just using standard browser modern auth, I have 26 that are legacy auth. The 172 unknown, that's something that we'll fix. Digging into it, basically what those map to are sign-ins that failed. So it was a point where the sign-in was stopped before the data was collected on the protocol. They're all protected when you set like this all protocol policy. It's just they weren't classified in the data logging system. So that's something that we're going to be updating. But just looking at the legacy auth, you can then go and see, okay, those were the Exchange and SharePoint, next report over, breakdown of which users are going to be impacted. You can see overall like trends in which apps are being impacted by policies. So you can build up, like, I can imagine, like, really cool things in terms of, like, making sure you have protection across all your apps and, different policies enforced in all the different cases. The other really cool thing about log analytics is that as part of doing the report, you can also hook up alerts and notifications. So you could create one of these reports and say, like, if the prompts from a particular policy spikes above some threshold within a given time range, like, send me an email. Or if you have apps that are unprotected, send an email. This is an area that I'm definitely like super excited to see what people do. And as people go and do this, kind of building out and sharing. Because it all comes down to this very simple query language. Personally, it's something that I'm excited about after the conference to go and explore some more. And then real quick, so one other part of this that I wanted to show. So you might wonder, for those users that I have set multi-factor auth on in all cases, like how impactful is that? And as part of this, I wanted to take the opportunity to show some of the other work that's been announced this week around passwordless sign-on. So what I'm going to show here is, switching over to that user that I checked and that there's a multi-factor auth policy applied to them. The passwordless sign-on also satisfies the multi-factor auth requirement because it's checking a secret on the device. You're required to enter some information. My demo phone is an older one, so I have to enter a passcode. But on my actual phone, I'd be using my fingerprint. So it's like super simple experience. And then I can just click on the number. And there's no additional password to type in. It just sends you straight through into it. There's really like this clean, strong, secure experience. All right. So just real quick summary there. So again, MFA your admins. If I haven't mentioned it before, please go and put MFA on your administrator accounts. Protect all your users with multi-factor auth, and then go and check and make a plan for rolling out these policies across all the endpoints for legacy protocols. Most of the attacks that we're seeing right now are on the older protocols. A lot of these is just because, like, the attacker tools find it easier to access those endpoints. So it's really something to look into. So compromised devices is up next. And kind of like the thing with compromised device is multi-factor auth is fantastic. Make sure it's the right user. But if that user is on a machine that has some malware on it, some malicious script, it can just hijack the session that user is already acting in. It could possibly steal some sort of authentication artifact like a token and go and use that somewhere else, and it still gets access to your data. So you want to make sure that that device is healthy and secure as well. So now Joey is going to talk about that and what Intune's been working on.
So hi, everybody. I'm Joey Glock. I'm a manager on Intune. Intune, as Caleb mentioned, oh, there we go, kicking in. I'm Joey Glock. I'm a program manager on Intune. As Caleb mentioned, Intune comes into the picture when you're asking yourself whether a device is trusted in that conditional access ecosystem. AD does a great job verifying user identity and sign-ins and applying the controls, but Intune is the one that's attesting that a device is configured and set up correctly. And traditionally, our recommendation to determine whether a device is trusted is to leverage Intune compliance policies. Compliance policies, up until this point, have really been pre-breach configuration-based compliance. So you're saying, is this device reducing its risk as much as possible? Is it encrypted? Does the PIN in our password meet complexity requirements? Does the device, is it jailbreak? Is it rooted? Is antivirus turned on? These kinds of things. We can apply compliance policies on iOS, Android, Windows, Mac OS, across the board. And for a long time, that was kind of good enough to basically say this device has a reduction of risk, therefore we trust it, we give it access. But as Intune and M365 has kind of evolved and we've gotten more intelligent across our security graph, we were actually able to partner and take that a step further and say, sure, Intune does a good job evaluating device compliance, but all that's doing is reducing risk. There's still a chance of a security breach and incident, always, whether or not you have encryption turned on and the device is jailbroken. If an incident gets into the system, we still need to respond. And traditionally, that has been the role of the security operations manager. So IT and security admins, they're the ones configuring devices, configuring CA, making sure all the rules are in place. Security operations is the one saying, regardless of your configuration, we're going to respond to whatever incidents we see. Traditionally, those two workplaces have been separated. And what Intune's done the last couple of months is begin to consume some data from our friends over at Windows Defender ATP to provide behavioral analysis on the device. So not just that the device is trusted, but that the device has no active incidents running on it. And this can be used in our compliance engine and feeds right into conditional access seamlessly, like compliance always has. I wanted to linger on some numbers here to give you some momentum behind ATP. This is a Windows E5 offering. In just a week, this is the last week before Ignite, it detected 78 billion risk events. So these were, again, behavioral analysis events. Some process was injected into a piece of code that escalated its privilege and took admin rights on a machine. ATP detects that, surfaces it up to admins. That covered 33,000 unique security events. ATP is adding these events all the time. I just listed a couple. Another one is seeing active malware doing something on a machine. And what we've done is we've secured our devices to link those two services. Or we've been able to secure our devices by linking those two services, and I wanted to show you a quick demo of what that looks like. So I'm going to start with a YouTube video. It's a little grainy, so I apologize for this. But what we're about to see is on the right an attacker's machine and on the left the victim's machine. A coworker has sent a malicious email with an email attachment in line here, and this attachment has malicious code built in. And what's going to happen is Liz is going to open this email attachment in Word, and she's going to enable content. Word is warning her, but she says, I want to work, I don't care. So she enables content, and as soon as that happens, you'll see on the right, an attacker is able to remote into that machine and begin running process privilege escalation attacks. So it is escalating its rights to admin rights, and after it has that, based on Liz's permissions, it's actually able to remote into other machines across its entire organization. So, and this is a real-world scenario that the ATP team detected and responded to in the past. So, in one enable content click, a malicious piece of malware has not just taken over admin rights on this machine, it's escalated and it's gone out to other machines. MFA can protect user sign-ins. Intune can make sure the device is configured, but we're still seeing here an active incident that a security operations person is going to have to respond to. And in the past, what that operations person needed to do was open Windows Defender ATP, see that the incident happened, open the device where the incident happened. Here is actually a response to what I was just talking about. A process privilege escalation happened, and we blocked dynamic code execution. And then they do something. They isolate the machine, they take it off the network, whatever. What Intune has done is it has partnered with ATP to build into its own compliance policies. So if I go into device compliance and I open a new policy, and let's just pick Windows 10. So far, I've been talking about Windows 10. We've definitely seen the most momentum around this behavioral threat analysis on Windows. We have a compliance policy like any other that we have on Windows, and this one says, what's the most level of tolerance you're willing to take? ATP documents what is a high-risk event, medium-risk event, low-risk event, and as you saw on the other screen, it has classified this machine as high risk right now. So you could say, I'm only going to tolerate medium-risk events. If any process privilege escalation is happening, that device is non-compliant. It's configured correctly, but a behavioral analysis says it's non-compliant. So as soon as that detection happens, just like the conditional access you're used to, we take the non-compliant tag, we write it into AAD's CA engine, and that user's blocked from accessing any further corporate resources. You're still going to have to deal with this from a security operations perspective, but you're plugging the dam a little bit, and you're making sure that further data is not coming into this from the cloud. And so this integration has had a lot of momentum behind it. We launched this late April of this year, and since May, we've had 300,000 devices reporting into Intune with ATP status. So we've had a ton of adoption behind this. People found it as a really valuable scenario, and we think it's a good example of working together across the security graph to protect endpoints in a new way. So in summary, Intune compliance, make sure your device is configured properly, make sure that the building is fireproof. But Windows Defender ATP is running a behavioral analysis and says that even if the building's fireproof, if a fire breaks out, we need an evacuation plan. And that kind of brings a new set of trusted device to the CA workflow. So that, I'm going to give it back to Caleb to talk about controlling your data.
All right, thank you, Joey. All right, thank you, Joey. So now what I'm going to go is talk about controlling your data and some of the steps that you can take there. The big one is kind of like Joey was talking about, is requiring a managed device, requiring a compliant device, so that you know you have the MDM policy pushed down, and that you can, require the BitLocker, require that you have a good passcode, so that when you do lose your device, you know the data is still safe on there. And this is kind of like, table stakes has been available for a while. It's really, we're seeing lots of uptake and lots of popularity in doing that. The next thing that you can do is, in the cases where you don't have a device that's compliant and it's not really going to make sense, maybe you want to have people have some access from their home machine and they're not going to enroll it in your corporate infrastructure. It's just making sure that that data doesn't get on the device. Maybe they can access it, but it does not actually get stored down on the device. Or kind of as like the third solution is taking advantage of Azure information protection so that you can encrypt the documents and it goes on any device and you'll be safe. I'm going to go into the second option a bit because I think you're mostly familiar with the compliant device. With limited access policies, you can really do a lot to make sure that the data doesn't get on the device in the first place. And it's been, I think it was about a year ago that we started talking about the SharePoint limited access policies, where you could go out and you could apply a policy to all of SharePoint, and then that would say that if you're not on a compliant device or a domain joined machine, then you won't be able to download the documents. Or you could just block access all up if you're not on one of those devices. The most common request that I've had since that has come out is people want to be able to do the same thing, but except for Exchange, where they say someone signs into OA, and you can't download and you can't get to that document. So I'm very happy to be talking about and showing how to do that in Exchange. Some excitement in the crowd. Always good to hear. So from a configuration perspective, it's exactly the same as what you would do in conditional access policy for setting up that security policy. Oh, I need to switch over to another tenant. Now I'm in the right place. Okay. So you would go in and you would configure the conditional access policy just like you normally would. And in this case, it's an app restriction policy. I now get to target this to SharePoint and Exchange. And then I set a session policy. And really what this is just saying is that when you have the conditional access policy set, go and trigger SharePoint or Exchange to then enforce this additional in-session policy so that these services know to block the download if the device trust requirement hasn't been satisfied. And now I'm going to show how that shows up in OA. So now me as a user, I'm just signed into the Office portal where I launch and I go to my applications. And when I click onto Outlook, I go into my suspiciously empty mailbox. Got it. And I have this urgent message from my administrator with a document. And it's really like following the same user experience that's in SharePoint, which is great, where you can see this banner show up. It explains to the user that you can still have access to the document. The options are just disappear, where you can't go and do the downloads. And when you go and you click into the document, you can actually see the contents, get the same banner. But again, everything disappears in terms of being able to go and download or the option to open in Word on your desktop. So you can have this nice experience while knowing that you're not having all this data copied out of your emails and that comes down to your local machine. This is pretty good. Really, really rounds out the story. Super excited about that. Now, the next part I want to talk about is kind of the steps that SharePoint is taking moving this forward and working with the Office Security and Compliance team. And this is also very exciting in that I think it sets an extremely powerful direction for how we can do things within the company around these types of policies. Now, the idea here is that instead of applying it to the service, that you can apply this type of policy to a data classification. So you go into the Office Security and Compliance Center, and you can say on your confidential document that a limited access policy would apply. So I'm in the Office Security Compliance Center, click on and see what labels that I have. And now I'll go into confidential and go to the site and group settings. Now, these are kind of the same options that you would have seen in SharePoint for setting it across SharePoint, or you could have done it in per site through PowerShell. But now you can come through and you can say, anything that's classified with confidential, now have this restriction that you can't download if you're not on a compliant device. This is all early private preview stuff in the direction that they're going. It's also going to be applied so that you can do the same thing for groups. And the vision there is to then push it out and really expand it across the board. It becomes this really easy way to think about your data. So you can think about what policies you want to have on your data and not spend so much time thinking about services and service entry points. Because in general, we're finding that as we're moving to the cloud, it's becoming harder and harder to think about the individual services. They're so interconnected. There's a bunch of microservices backing them that when you can just tell a story that's how do I want to keep my data secure, a lot of the complexity goes away. And this is really the direction that we're going to be investing in. Now, to kind of show this from a user perspective, I can go and I can click into my SharePoint site. Let me try that one more time. All right, so I went into SharePoint and search for my team fun site. Always searching for some fun. Yeah, that was a bad one. You can groan. That's fine. All right, so then once I get into the site, this site's not classified, so I can get to it. I could download, what morale events the team is thinking about or whatever. But it also links out to a site that we're looking at the financials for the team. And this is a marked classified site. So within the same SharePoint instance, as I navigate across this site that's been classified, then that banner appears that you saw in Exchange, where I know that I can't download the document anymore because I'm not currently on a compliant device. Now, how is the site created? I mean, it could be through an automated process for the data classification. If it's a user who's going through and creating a new site, as part of that flow, they have the option to just classify the site. And if they pick and say that this is a secret site, then whatever policy, security policy, the data admin is configured automatically gets applied to that site. The individual user doesn't have to think about it. So that's really, it gives you some really powerful tools in terms of being able to make sure you keep that data where it's supposed to be. This is kind of an overview of the work that's being done with Microsoft Information Protection. And this is that labeling system that I was talking about. At the bottom, I have a call out to another session, which, of course, was this morning. But if you want to learn more about the data classification, I would go and I would check that out. And also, just as a little bonus in here, so right now, that feature that I showed you through Exchange, you have to turn it on in Exchange through PowerShell. So this is the PowerShell to know, to go in and turn it on. Once that's turned on, then it means it doesn't automatically turn on the blocking the downloads, but it'll mean that Exchange is primed to accept that signal conditional access policy sends across in the app restriction. And in any of those cases, for any of those users you've scoped it to, it'll block the downloads. All right. And next is Alex to talk about cloud app security.
So what Caleb just showed are some really, really powerful controls for applications like Exchange Online and SharePoint Online. I really want to emphasize how cool this is. Traditionally, when we were thinking about conditional access years ago, it was controls at the gate. So it was things like, hey, before you let my user into the session, require MFA, or just block access to the application. These sort of features really let us balance security and productivity. We're letting the users in, we're letting them get to resources, but we're saying even within the session, we want to restrict certain actions that they can take. So what we showed again was Exchange and SharePoint, and I'm here from the Cloud App Security team to sort of talk about how Microsoft expands this vision to an any app solution. So some applications just don't have these kind of native controls built in, both third-party apps and first-party apps, and that's where the functionality that I'm going to show you comes in. Just to go over very, very high-level architecture and sort of highlight some of the key pieces here about how we integrate across Microsoft with Azure AD, with Intune, with Azure Information Protection. The scenario here, and I'm going to bring this to life with a demo, is we've got a user that's going to a cloud resource. Here we threw up Box just to emphasize that third-party app scenario as well. The Box is configured with single sign-on, so when the user goes to authenticate, they're going to be redirected to Azure AD. They'll perform their sign-on, and then Azure AD is going to go in and evaluate all of those conditional access policies that Caleb walked you through. Now, this is where our controls come in. The Microsoft Cloud App Security story comes in. I'll show you the literal checkbox where we sit. It's a super simple integration between Azure AD and Cloud App Security, where you can say, hey, if the user meets these certain risks, then I want to direct this user to Cloud App Security servers, evaluate what kind of policies they have, and then apply those policies. So basically, at the Cloud App Security level, you're analyzing the session risk, looking at things like device compliance with Intune, and then eventually you're enforcing relevant policies. So I threw up some examples here, both things that we support today, as well as forward thinking for really, really awesome scenarios going forward. I'm not going to have time to show all of these different scenarios in this talk. I will give a plug for my talk on the next slide. But you see that third one just to the right of Box says enforce read-only mode in applications for partner users. That's what I'm going to walk you through today. It's a request we hear over and over from customers about, hey, we've got partner users. We can't manage their security systems. They need access to some of our resources, but we really need to be able to tightly control what they can and can't do. So again, I'm going to highlight that read-only mode. I'm going to switch gears here in a second, but just to call out my talk tomorrow where I'm going to jump into more than just this one use case. I'll pause here for a second and let you guys write that down, and then I'll switch over to the demo. All right, so I am now a partner user And I am on my corporate instance, or the partner company's corporate instance of Box. And I click Continue. And now I just got redirected to authenticate against Azure AD. My name is Ronald. I'm using my Outlook account. Again, partner user. I'm going to do something dangerous here and turn my phone off of silent and hope that none of my text messaging threads blow up so I can show you the multi-factor auth that gets prompted first. So I log in as Ronald. And now I'll be prompted for multi-factor authentication. So you should see a call come in here in a second. There it is. I push pound to continue. And then you'll see that I'll be redirected to Cloud App Security first before I actually end up on Box. So you see this screen that just popped up. This is your first clue that this isn't just a regular session. We actually took you through Cloud App Security servers. So what you're seeing here is basically a warning, hey, you're being monitored. This is completely configurable by the administrator. By default, we have this on, but you can choose whether to show or hide this for your users. So as Ronald, I click Continue to Box, and in a couple seconds, I'm going to be spit out at the home page of Box. You'll see the UI, UX are exactly like Box. I'm going to zoom in onto the URL just for a split second, just to show you that there, instead of box.com, you're seeing box.com.uscasms. This is actually sitting on Cloud App Security session servers so that we can monitor what you're doing as well as restrict certain actions. So now I see, okay, right away there's this confidential file, clearly confidential. It's called Employee Social Security Number. So Ronald decides to download this file. And immediately what happens is we say, hey, you can't download this. There's a social security number in there. Ronald says, okay, I'm going to share it out so that I can look at it later. I'm going to share it to my personal account. Again, we stopped him right in his tracks. He does something else. He says, okay, I have some other resources that I need to be able to add to Box. So he clicks Upload, goes to upload a file. Here's this confidential Project Saturn plan. Again, he's prevented from being able to upload anything into Box. Now he says, okay, at this point, if we wanted to not let him do anything, we would have just blocked him out of the application. So we do want him to be able to read the basic documents. Here's this Cloud App Security report. And when I click on this, you'll see that Ronald is actually able to view this document. But again, if he tries to take further actions, like opening it in Microsoft Word Online, that action's going to be blocked. And finally, of course, something like print, he says, okay, I'm going to go old school. I'm just going to print this document out. It says print restricted. This page cannot be printed. And again, accompanied by an action blocked message. So that's sort of the user experience there. He continues to be productive. He can view things directly within Box, but beyond that, we can't manage Ronald's security, so we prevent him from being able to take these other actions. Now, let me show you the administrator experience here. Caleb's already walked you through some of the conditional access policies. I'll show you how simple of an integration this is. I think that's the most powerful thing about this feature is all of the various integrations across different Microsoft resources. So here I go to the conditional access portal. And again, this is a conditional access policy. Caleb's walked you through these filters, through these controls. And on that same page where you saw those app-enforced restrictions, where you saw the ability to augment SharePoint in Exchange, there's this other checkbox. Again, I'll zoom in, where it says use conditional access app control. So we've said, hey, in this policy for partner users, for any app, we want to require multi-factor authentication. That's what prompted the phone call. And then after we prompt for MFA, we want to redirect to Cloud App Security servers. So then in Cloud App Security, we have to define what we want to do with Ronald, with this user. So here's this policy. I know the text is small. I'll zoom in on the important features. But basically, this policy is called block custom activities in Box, Jira, and Salesforce. Those happen to be the third-party apps that Ronald's using in this environment. So in the activity section, you can specify activity type, the applications you're interested in applying these controls to, the users you want to scope this to. Here I scoped it specifically to Ronald for the demo, but of course this is applicable in this case to any external user. Now, for those activity types, there's a long list. We're really trying to create a read-only mode in any application, and a file storage app might be different than an application like Jira, so these controls are different on an app-by-app basis. I'll scroll down here and just zoom in again, just to show you some of the controls, things like sharing items, download controls, as well as if I scroll further down, there's things like upload, print, everything you just saw basically be blocked. And the reason that those actions were blocked is because at the end of the policy, we scope them to be blocked. We say, hey, I want these actions to be blocked, and I also want to create an alert for my administrator every time Ronald triggers one of these actions. So then the final thing I'll show you is, okay, so we've shown you these powerful controls where Ronald's literally stopped in his tracks from doing these things, as well as the alert capability. But I can also monitor all of this in my activity log. So if I jump over to the activity log in Cloud App Security, I'll click refresh, and you're actually going to see on this page all of that activities that we just generated with Ronald live. So if we take a look at what's going on here, we'll see, hey, we just saw all of this happen. Ronald logged in to Box, he downloaded an item, and there's that block sign next to it because it was blocked. He shared out an item, again blocked. When he previewed the item, it wasn't blocked. We allowed him to do that, so that's why you don't see that block sign next to it. And then the further actions he took were also blocked. If we want to expand one of these and look in more detail at the circumstances surrounding this, we can look at, for example, this preview, and we can get powerful information about Ronald, about what date he accessed this, which location he was coming from, which IP address, as well as which policies were triggered within Cloud App Security that sort of brought this to life. So with that, I will hand it back over to Caleb to wrap things up.
All right, thank you. Where did you put the clicker? I got it. Fail on the clicker handoff. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is app ecosystem. So pretty much everything that we've talked about is with Microsoft integrations, like, with SharePoint, MCAS, Intune, all this richness with other Microsoft products. And what we really want to do is make sure these capabilities are available for everybody. So if you're developing an application, you can richly build apps that work with these policies, that can take advantage of this security, that can use some of these native built-in capabilities. And kind of the principle that we're going for, and there's things that we need to improve, or I should ask, how many people are in here would classify themselves as developers? They do some development. Okay, so there's a few, so some people will know what I'm talking about. There's cases where we want to make things simpler and work better by default when a policy blocks an application. And the real goal there is to make sure that when someone writes an application and they follow the best practices for working with Azure Active Directory, you get a reasonable behavior. There'll be some things you can do to make it richer, to make more contextual error messages or a more deeply integrated experience. And then this will be a win for everybody. So for the majority of you that wouldn't classify yourself as developers, it also means that apps are being written with better quality that can then, again, deliver this better user experience for people. One example that I wanted to talk about was with Zscaler, because we've done work with them, where they've built in and they've ensured that their proxy, that when you go and you connect to the cloud and use their network proxy, also integrates in with SSO from Azure Active Directory and with conditional access policies, including device policies. And this makes a nice, rich story, because they've been working with the Intune team as well to be able to push out the Zscaler client to a device. There was an announcement earlier this week in terms of being able to push the VPN profile out for Zscaler onto iOS. And then on Windows, it's just an easy configuration to deploy the MSI. So then once you're there and your user is connecting to their secure network environment, same behaviors appear, that if you aren't on a compliant device, that you would be blocked. You can walk through the steps to enroll and be brought into compliance with Intune. And then after the user has done that, be able to gain access. And I just love this example because it's like us building our security features, partnering with other people, with partners that are building security features, and just making things work better together, and hopefully overall making the world a better place where we can provide more secure solutions for everybody. And I think we'll be seeing more and more of this. And then also, like I said, just with the native integrations, you'll get this richer support as well too. I wanted to talk a little bit of roadmap. on developer experience, both, and this is like developer, building a ISV application, but also developer inside an organization or someone using PowerShell. And the first one here is a big ask that we've had for a long time, and we're getting very close on having the MS Graph and PowerShell support for conditional access policy management. This would be parity with what's in the conditional access user interface right now. Like, you can create, modify policies, and this has been a very common ask and something that we've been working to get just right, to have like the expressiveness of the policy language. The real common cases that I hear for this are deployment. Someone goes and they create some policies in their test environment. Everything's working great, and they want to make sure that they have cookie cutter of that policy in their production environment and not rely on someone going through and clicking through and picking all of these different conditions and options and getting it just right. So being able to build tooling or PowerShell scripts that sucks that policy out and then push it back in the target tenant is one of the key use cases there. Another very common one is just in terms of like backup and checking policies and having all the richness there. Another thing that we're doing, and this goes back to my point about having the right behaviors by default, is under the covers, having policies applied more to permission scopes, not to the actual like app or service that you're targeting. The value that you get here is, again, around Microsoft Graph. More and more applications are being built on Microsoft Graph, and you want a policy to be applied based on the resource that application is getting to. So if that resource is going to email, then that app would have a permission scope for email, and policy would be applied correctly. Right now, to take a secure stance, we are very broad in which policy is applied. So you're using MS Graph, we always apply the Exchange policy, we always apply the SharePoint policy, because maybe you would be accessing that data. So having it pivoted around scopes is going to be able to provide a much better user experience and much more intuitive experience too, when you as an administrator goes and set a policy and can help anticipate which apps are going to be impacted by that. The other nice thing about scopes is it creates this very nice line and direction where you can see, okay, this application is requesting this scope, and then we can provide admin experiences that show, kind of backtrace that, where you can see, I set this policy on this end target resource. I can trace backwards and see all the applications that might be impacted and reason about that in the environment. Because that's one of the areas that we get a lot of feedback on, is that when policy is set on individual applications, particularly these interconnected applications, that sometimes people get unexpected experiences around which other services are impacted, because that service accesses one of these protected backends. So we're going to spend time making that better, and that's part of that work. Now, simplifying validation, this is more developer-focused thing, but it's just creating environments, creating guidance where someone who's writing an application can go in and validate that that app is behaving correctly, run it across policies. Right now, it's kind of common state that we have a developer write an application, and everything looks fine, and then it gets deployed into an environment that has conditional access policy, and something breaks at that point, and then it's all in triage mode. And we want to prevent that. We want to be able to cut that off as much as possible. And providing richness in environments is one way to do that. And then the fourth one is making it easier for developers or line of business app developers to take advantage of the Intune SDK. And that Intune SDK is what powers app protection within Intune, where you can say an individual app has additional protections, so that app makes sure its data is encrypted before it's saved to file, or there's a password in order to access that application. Right now, we can apply those conditional access policies for Office apps, but there's not a way to go in and specify them for third-party apps or internally developed applications. And we just want to make that more accessible. Again, as a general rule, everything that we're doing right now that you see is just kind of like a Microsoft integration in terms of having that client application, being able to take advantage of the different protections that we're providing. We want to be able to get that available for other apps and build that app ecosystem up. All right, so in summary, I kind of made this table to help as like a cheat sheet in terms of the different things that we talked about. So, the columns are protecting your users. This is the compromised credential. Having MFA. The other thing that I didn't talk about earlier, but if you haven't looked into it and you have an Azure ADP P2 license or EMS E5, is using Azure Identity Protection to use policies based on user compromise signal and blocking user access if there's a high risk that user account has been compromised. And applying those MFA policies and policies based on risk are fantastic steps in terms of making sure that it's the right users accessing your data. For risky devices, using the Windows ATP integration and Intune mobile threat detection across Windows and other platforms, and then Intune compliance to push that out is kind of the main features there. And then limited access plus MCAS for helping lost and stolen device along with the Intune compliant device scenarios. Allows you to have this richness of data protection on the device while also keeping your users productive, since they don't necessarily have to have this enrolled device, and they can still have some restricted access. And then for legacy auth, I just put it across the board, because if you have these old endpoints open, then it's a possible way to circumvent any of these other protections. So, that's kind of also just to highlight the importance of looking at that and coming up with a plan in terms of locking down all these entry points. If you want to get in touch with us, so Alex and I are on Twitter a bit. We're both definitely open to us getting questions that way, connecting with you there. And then also the Azure AD team uses user voice. And this is something that we've been watching and we definitely look at. It's a spot that you can go to, submit suggestions, vote on suggestions that other people have submitted. The top one here is to allow for customized error messages within conditional access policy. If you care about that, you can go vote for that. Since this is the top one, I'm kind of curious, as a hands poll, does anyone have any interest in being able to control that text that appears in the conditional access policy dialog? At least branded? Okay. So then we're going to be able to, get that feedback, and that's all super valuable. Related sessions that you're going to want to go see. Here's the general list. Alex's session is up there as well, too. And looks like we have about 15 minutes for questions, which is great. So if anyone wants to start with some questions, that would be fantastic. Yeah?
Could you just clarify?
Oh. Sorry, I should pause for the thank you. And thanks to all of you for coming. Really appreciate your time.
Could you just clarify the state of legacy authentication, whether or not it can be blocked right now, or if it's still in preview, such as Exchange Web Services?
Yeah, so right now, the feature is in a public preview, but it's fully capable. We don't have any known issues in terms of its capability to block any of the web services. So it has a protection across the board. So when you go and you set that and you check all those boxes, then it's going to protect all that access.
It should work.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you go to the mic real quick? Yeah.
Are there any plans for device attestation to integrate with third-party AV or endpoint protection tools outside of ATP?
Do you do third-party tools for device detection on Windows?
I'm not aware of device health. So device health attestation integrates with Intune compliance policies, so we leverage it, but integrating with other third-party tools, not that I'm aware of, top of mind.
Thanks.
Google Threat? Other MTDs? Yeah, tangentially or maybe related to this, Intune also integrates with other mobile threat defense vendors. So, we're integrating with ATP, so anything ATP is building that evaluates risk signals, we consume. But we consume it on Lookout, Semantic. We have a ton of other MTD providers on mobile devices that we use for compliance evaluation as well.
Okay.
Is there functionality or plans to put functionality to set up a conditional access policy in an audit mode?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you would create that policy and then basically be able to see the effect of it without being able to have any actual
see
impact
how many
on your users.
could possibly be affected, or
Yeah, so this is another thing that we're looking at, which I think kind of in that story that I told in terms of you can do kind of the what if up front and you can look at it afterwards. That there's kind of that middle gap there where you want to see the analysis along the traffic before it's fully enabled. And that is something that we're looking at that we think is going to be really important for people.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Regarding limited access for OA on unmanaged devices, how does that, as far as the Outlook Rich client, which is ADO enabled, how does it determine the difference between those two.
Okay. So in like the limited access policy case, what would you do for the outlet client, or how does it determine the difference?
Right.
So the recommendation there, and this is also consistent for SharePoint, is since you can scope the policy to be just for the browser or just for like the mobile and desktop, that within the browser you would say use a limited access policy, block the downloads. Within the rich applications themselves, they don't have the capability to block downloads. It's just storing a lot of state on the device anyway. So if you're using the rich client, the guidance would be more use a policy that requires just an all-up compliant device and block access if you don't have it. Because if you're on a machine that's like someone else's device because you're visiting, or your own device, then just access through the web portal and not use the mobile client at all. And then when you're on the work machine, enroll it and get full access.
But how does the conditional access determine if it's an OA or a rich client that is ADO enabled?
I see. So how do we know which one it is? So in those two different flows, we're actually issuing tokens to different clients, and then we identify the different clients. So in the case of OA, it has a different application identifier that we have tied, and it's associated with a specific URL that we'll return tokens to.
Okay.
So when we know that we're returning them to that endpoint, that we know it's OA, where then if it's like a mobile application, then it's registered as a mobile application. It has a different identifier, and we can call that out. And that's kind of what we pivot on in the policy.
Okay, excellent.
Cool. Great, thank you.
Good, thank you.
I think we have at the far end as well.
Hi.
I have a question. Can I use set order-by mailbox policy, conditional access policy read-only without EMS license?
Say that one more time. Can you use...
I have no EMS license, Azure Active Directory Premium. Can I use set order-by mailbox policy, conditional access policy read-only?
So I think conditional access, potentially classic policies or rich policies without an AADP.
So you're talking about like, so if I got that right, so you're asking if you don't have AADP license, can you use conditional access policy for domain join machines? Was domain join specific, or is it just in general what's available?
Can I use Exchange Online command? Legacy conditional access policy read-only.
For the read-only?
Yes.
So in order to do conditional access policy for that read-only in Exchange and for SharePoint, it also requires the AADP premium license to enable that. The policy that doesn't require the AADP premium was just that one baseline policy that I showed with the requiring MFA. The other ones require at least AADP 1.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
We have some questions on the end as well. Wait.
Oh, we'll get down to you, sorry.
That's all right. So it was alluded that there's going to be more baseline policies. Do you have a roadmap of what those baseline policies are going to be and when they're going to come out?
So I can confirm there will be more baseline policies. I'm not the person working on it, so I don't know exactly what we're talking about in terms of it. Broadly speaking, you could probably guess pretty easily. Like, we have the ones just for administrators. We think it's super important that you have some level of strong auth and MFA for all users. We think it's super important that you have protection across legacy protocols.
Okay.
That's the type of direction, yeah.
I've got a second question. We do a lot of scripting with PowerShell on-prem, and of course, we basically, all users require MFA, and we have to do a lot of exclusions on the access for the PowerShell scripts that we do push out there. Is there any plans on having a conditional access based off of just those, allowing those in, or having a condition that there's going to be maybe a managed service account that we could use or something of that nature that will allow us to go through and not do the excludes for MFA?
I see. So what you would want is, so for the on-premise account, right now you're using a user account basically to go and sign in?
Well, we're using a service account, an on-prem user account to actually do the work, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so for the on-prem user account, as long as it's a user account, then it's hard for us to tell that it's being used for service. So then there's like some level of management that has to happen there. For now, I think probably the best option would be like putting it in a security group and excluding it, which it sounds like is probably what you're doing. Yeah, I don't know in terms of like the general capabilities. Like if there was certificate authentication or anything available within PowerShell on those users, and that would be a direction that we would want to go as well.
Okay.
But right now, there's nothing really immediate in that.
All right,
But
great,
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
You got the far end as well. We've been waiting.
Yeah,
Far end, yeah.
We have MapIO HTTPS enabled in our environment, and we want to deploy this conditional access to limit the users accessing from externally through a managed device. So how is it? And we plan to deploy using MCAS. So is this possible?
So you said, and this was on Mac OS, you said?
No, it's on Windows.
So it's on Windows. You want to limit access from an external device?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so you can do that. So with both the policies that I showed for SharePoint and Exchange and for MCAS, you can still author a conditional access policy that says, only use this policy when the user's outside of the corporate network. So then on any of those machines, then that policy would be enforced. And then if they were inside the corporate network, then conditional access policy wouldn't send the trigger across or wouldn't redirect to CAS, and they would just have full and normal access on the corporate network.
Oh, okay. I have a second question. Is this MCAS part of the E3 or E5?
So MCAS is part of the E5.
Okay. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm wondering when will the session-based feature will be rolled out in conditional access? For example, if you're on a managed device, the device state, so let's say if we deploy multi-factor authentication and we want to make sure that MFA is prompted every 7 days or however many days on a managed device compared to a BYOD device. I know conditional access policy doesn't support that yet, and it's a bit of a pain point, so just wondering if it's in a roadmap that's coming up.
It's on the general roadmap. I can't talk about like the timeline for it, but it's a relatively common request in terms of like having more control around when that prompt comes up. And we're probably honestly going to approach it from two different angles. Which one is like look at that and satisfying that requirement because we hear it pretty frequently, but then also working with people to like figure out the baseline concern there as well. Because as we're moving to stronger credentials, then you get less value out of reprompting the user in all those cases. Like if you're using Windows Hello for Business, where you know there's a certificate like in the TPM chip, there's not a whole lot of value in that reprompt. But I think for some of those, for the other factors, I think there's cases where it still shows up. What's the concern? Why do you want to have multiple prompts?
Well, I think just like any other organization, obviously we have managed devices and we have BYOD, which is not corporate issued, right? So they're personal devices. So what we're trying to do is make sure that how can we write access policies where if somebody's coming from within the United States on a managed device, we don't want to prompt them for MFA like every 24 hours, but just 7 days. But if you're on a BYOD device and if you're not managed by Intune, then you get prompted every 24 hours. The problem is that we can only set the threshold at one place. So if it's 7 days, it's going to be for BYOD and for managed devices.
Right. So the concern there is kind of within the story that I was telling there about you do multi-factor auth, you should have a compliant device. In the cases where you can't have a compliant device, making sure that you have Windows ATP and everything.
And
reducing risk by having a shorter window of access time.
Yeah, that's because we have personal devices and people are afraid of using MDM on their personal device. So we want to be able to like give them some choices. I mean, at some point we'll convince them, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like the general trend is to get everyone on those devices or the stronger credentials, but yeah, no, it's a totally reasonable use case for now.
Thank you. That was my question.
Yeah.
Hi. If I want to set up a block policy for the other client, older like Outlook 2010 and SMTP, can I combine that with like condition as a selected location?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the blocking the legacy policy, that works for like the per app targeting, users and groups. It works well there. For the location, we have it called out right now as not supported. And the main reason for that right now is a lot of those calls get proxied through Exchange service for like the mail protocols. And the appropriate location information isn't getting sent across to us. So it's something that we're looking at. But right now, if you go and you have a location condition and you set it on the legacy protocols, then the location condition will basically still be treated as like from anywhere. It won't be honored.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So that kind of work is going to happen soon, or is it going to change? Because we're in a hybrid environment where we still have a lot of people on-prem and on the cloud, and we have a lot of people also on Office 2010. But we want to block that Outlook 2010 from external.
Yeah.
But we don't want to block, of course, our internal user because they still haven't migrated to Windows 10, and Office 2016, an example.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's a work in progress that might come in soon, or that's not going to happen, or.
Yeah, so it's really hard to talk about dates. So I'll tell you what I I can honestly tell you, which is in terms of the things that we're looking at, it's pretty high up there. It's something that we get lots of feedback on, and that we see as like a supportability issue and everything.
Yeah.
There's still some investigation going on exactly in terms of how to solve it. So it's difficult for me to give you a timeline on it, but it's something that we're like engaged on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. The baseline policies that you demoed for administrators and such, how is that going to take into account users that are eligible for a role? If you're using Azure PIM, for example, is that going to look at people eligible or just actively in those roles?
Okay, no, that's a great question. So when you have one of these policies and it's targeted for a specific role, because you can also target roles just within the regular conditional access policy, it applies to a user who's active within that role. So if you have someone who's global admin eligible, and there's a policy that says MFA for admins, most of the time they won't be MFA'd when they're signing in. But after they've elevated and then they go and access, then the MFA policy or whichever policy will kick in at that point. Great, thank you. All right.
So I have two questions. The first one is yesterday I was in a separate CA meeting, and the question came up about MFA. We do have required MFA. But someone who was actually a Microsoft employee asked me, are you doing MFA through like mandatory on the account, or are you doing it through CA? And the answer is kind of both in places, but I didn't get a specification. I wanted to ask, is there a security concern doing it one way or the other?
Oh, we're doing like the per user MFA versus the
per
conditional
user
access
versus CA.
MFA?
Is there a security concern if we're doing it through CA that we should be doing it per user, or does it really not matter?
No, so with the legacy auth policy protection and everything, so as long as you're covered there, there's no real security concern there.
Okay.
From a direction perspective.
Okay.
I mean, it's all moving into CA since you have like the more richness and everything there. So if right now I was rolling out MFA, I would like do it through conditional access policy, not for
and that's how
user.
we've been leaning for, but I wasn't sure. The only other thing, and I don't know if it's coming, but you don't know if you don't ask, is there any chance that we'll get a free flow text box to where we can take just raw authorization SAML claims and dump it into CA to get some additional functionality with like wildcards or stuff like that to build our own CA instead of the GUI?
So I caught part of that. So it's basically like a free form where you can add more wildcards
so
in and
that I
everything?
can take like an authorization rule that I would have put in ADFS with just raw SAML language and add it in there to get, part of it would be either recognition of additional claims, which may not happen, or logic, or wildcard logic. So one use case would be, let's say we've got an application for a SharePoint site. We're restricting it through security groups that our identity management team creates. We wanted to do just a wildcard so that every time they create a new security group, we don't have to go and manage the CA policy. So we'd just say, any security group that starts with this naming standard star, go ahead and just...
I see, so it's like regex basically on the conditions within the policy.
We do a bunch of custom claim policy right now, not a bunch, but when we have use case for it. So is there any chance that we'll get just a raw text where we can drop?
So it's not something that we're looking at right now. The one that I heard about the most where we've thought about it is around like the device platform detection, since we're using user agent to then be able to make that more extensible there.
Okay.
So we've thought about it some. I hadn't heard the case around like security group and everything, but that makes sense. I mean, for users, we mostly say use dynamic groups because you get that feature itself.
Sure.
But if you need like that looser matching for the groups alone, then that's good. It's a good suggestion.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
For the limited access policies for OA, we've seen that capability in our tenant for a while as far as the conditional access policy is concerned. But this is the first time I've been able to see or find any documentation about the PowerShell to actually configure on the Exchange side. Is that available now? If not, when will it be?
It's available now.
It is now.
So,
Okay, perfect.
so what I just demoed, that was just using like a production tenant, nothing special turned on it for anything.
Perfect. Yeah, if you could just get better information about the documentation out there that people can find, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's all coming out kind of here. I think it was out a little bit before, and then it kind of gets rolled out during
and then
the
second
conference.
question. When dealing with conditional access policies, we also have a set of MAM policies that we're running, and frequently those kind of step on each other, right? MAM has its own set of security constraints that we put in place. We don't necessarily want the conditional access policies applying on top of that. But there's no way to exempt those specific applications from the conditional access policies, right? It basically picks up the entire device or the entire user session when it hits. Is there any consideration for bringing in MAM policies or MAM managed applications as a possible exemption or other criteria for applying conditional access policies?
So your case there would be that you would want to say require a compliant device, exclude if you're on a MAM application?
Yeah, or I might want to, on a non-compliant device, apply MFA, but not on the conditional access or the MAM managed application.
I think I can answer that. I'm over here. I was just about to take my headphones off. Sorry. But I'm standing here so I can answer.
Just hear the voice.
In the MAM policy authoring experience itself, we recently, about a month ago, added an option to basically say whether you want to apply this to managed apps on managed devices or unmanaged devices. So in the policy itself, you can back the MAM policies away by excluding managed devices.
Well, but I think the scenario that's specific to us is it's particularly unmanaged devices, right? So somebody has a BYD device, and they run Outlook on it. Well, we've got a MAM policy that's managing Outlook on that device. So I don't need to worry about applying the other conditional access constraints to that experience. But if they come in through a browser, I definitely want to apply all the conditional access components to it.
Right. Yeah, then I guess it is a CA request.
Yeah.
I thought we could get around it with the targeting on the policy
Yeah,
itself.
because right now, so you can do like an OR between like the managed device or if it's an app, a managed application within conditional access policy.
So
I don't know if you've seen that. So you author a policy, with whatever conditions, and then as the control, you can say require the app protection, and then check the checkbox for require compliant device. And then below that, there's some radio button options that say, is it you require both, or you just require one of these? So you can say that you just require one.
This might need an offline conversation then, because again, it's the not compliant device that I'm most concerned with. But yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay, we can map it out.
Thanks.
That's great. Hey.
My question is on Azure services. Are there plans to be able to apply conditional access for specific Azure services like machine learning? So that we can say our data scientists, they handle sensitive data. I only want that handled from inside our corporate network. So
yeah. So right now, when you apply policy to like Azure services, it gets applied to the portal all up and to the ARM API, right?
Yeah.
And then there's all these services that are behind it. So that's something that we're not actively working on right now, but that's kind of like on the backlog, because it's exactly for this. Like when you're thinking about like the machine learning service, you might want to have different protections around that than you would for the code or for deploying
currently
VMs.
we give them a separate account which does not get in our ADFS does not get a claim when they're not on the corporate network. We'd like to move all the logic on ADFS to conditional access and everything in Azure AD, make everything cloud-based, so that would be very helpful.
Yeah, so I think that's an area that we need to look more into, so I definitely appreciate the feedback on that, because I will take that back to Redmond with me.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you.
Great.
All right, well, I think that's everything, and we are at time, so thank you very much again for all of you that are still here, and hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.